You might have seen across social media that more and more people around the world decide to move into tiny spaces.
We are Kinga and Marcin, and we've been living in our self-built campervan since October 2021. We built our van without any prior experience, but thanks to a number of great YouTube resources and help from our friends, we were able to complete our build in just over a year. We bought this 2012 long wheelbase Mercedes Sprinter in August 2019 after getting a loan in the bank. The van cost us £6,000, which in today's market is pretty good. It had done 138,000 miles and was pretty well looked after. Also, we thought, the initial MOT, which we asked for after paying the deposit and before committing to buying the van, shown this.
At this point, we were super excited to start the build, so we decided to fix any issues that there were with the van and take any problems as they come, which in our case was about £3,000 worth of problems. So be prepared for any issues that might come your way unexpectedly. Let's get this build started.
The first step was to get all the plywood panels out and check the state of the bodywork inside. We then removed the original plywood floor and used our living room at home as a garage. We cleaned the van and treated it for rust using white hammerite. We laid out wooden battens on the metal floor and secured them to the bodywork using a combination of glue and screws. We made sure we have enough mounting points for furniture and extra support on the location of batteries and water tank. We then used 25mm insulation PRR boards for the floor. In total, we bought 10 of these on eBay, but we only used 6 or 7 in the end. We joined them using aluminium tape. Then we made sure no water can get through here. Some people take the whole plastic trim off from the outside, but we decided to try it from the inside, and so far we didn't have any problems. This is an important step, as otherwise you will always have water coming into your van. After that, things got serious and it was time to cut holes in our van. We used a fine metal blade and went through 2 or 3 of those. We didn't want our roof vents to be attached to metal only, so we used wooden frames which the screws would go into and wedge the vents in. Then we stuck on those sound deadening self-adhesive panels. As per manufacturer instructions, you only need to cover your bare metal up to 50%. Anything more than that will be a waste of time. Then, inspired by Sarah and Alex James's van build series, we used wooden battens on the ceiling like this. The whole reason behind doing the ceiling like this is to bring everything down so the ceiling is straight rather than curved. We use expanding foam to go into the hard to reach areas. We used a total of 4 big cans. We then used the same PRR boards to insulate the ceiling and walls. We doubled up to make 50mm of insulation in some areas. We used earth wool in the cavity walls. The next step was to use these aluminium studs to build a shower frame and the back benches. Doing this first allowed us to work around the bathroom and start on our plumbing and electrics. We then worked on our bulkhead storage. We used a piece of 18mm ply and cut it to size, covered it in auto carpet and fixed it to the cab. Then we used our bulkhead as a template to cut out this piece which would hold our bulkhead storage. We painted it white and played around with epoxy to achieve a gloss finish. We then used the leftover 6mm ply panels we took out from the original van and used them to start our bathroom. This would be used as a base layer to glue on plastic boards onto. At this point we painted the panels with water seal. We also started adding initial battens, to which we would later fasten our plastic cladding and furniture. With the back benches laid out using aluminium studs, we could now put our water tank in. Then we made our composting toilet with a urine diverter to go into the bathroom. This is raised over our shower tray, with overlaps so any water can drain through the shower tray out into our grey water tank. Then we added our water pump and started our plumbing. After many months, this was the first time we could see some progress. We carried on with the bathroom, and this was the result. Our next step was to test this budget-friendly instant water heater and check for any leaks before it goes into the van. These need to be properly ventilated, so we installed a flue, and we always open the back door when we use the shower for air circulation. We then worked on our electric system. Currently we have two deep cycle 120 amp hour batteries and 260 watt solar panels. We can charge the batteries through our split charge relay connecting to our alternator when the van is running. Our solar panels keep the batteries topped up when it's sunny, and we plug into power on campsites when the weather is terrible. All this is done through our Iconica hybrid 1000 watt inverter / MPPT controller / AC to DC charger. We bought this as it was very budget friendly and is a great piece of kit, with the only downside of being pretty loud under use. The next step was to travel over to Poland to visit our friend who has a carpentry business to help us with the finish of the van. We only had 2 weeks, so this was going to be a challenge. We started by cladding the roof using plastic cladding. Originally we wanted to use Tongan roof and paint it white, but this seemed like a more sensible and efficient option. A few days after we started, and with the lights, the cladding and the floor in, our van looked like home for the first time ever. We then started making cabinets, which were all planned out in CAD prior to building. We used 12mm white laminate boards to build all the furniture. We have an 8mm copper pipe going underneath the van, splitting out into rubber pipes behind the fridge. Both the fridge and the cooker connect via a rubber hose, and both pipes are shorter than a meter. We also have a 12-volt supply behind the fridge and a 230-volt supply which can be used when plugged into shore power. This is the state of the van as we left Poland 2 weeks later. Truly amazing job by the team at JS Meble Wzornictwo. The next step was to make some cushions for the back. We had these made with thick foam and covered in grey waterproof material, which is nice and touch. We decided to go for waterproof in case of condensation inside and accidental water spills. This is what we provided our lovely family friend Taylor, and the cushions worked out amazingly. The van was now built. In the meantime, we got stuck in mud, our clutch broke, we got towed, we drank wine, we got a projector and the mood light, we drank more wine, we got engaged in the van, we installed the screen, and then we took pictures of the final result.